Well, I didn't really have a choice. I was named after a rugby player. My dad was big into rugby, so I didn't choose to play. It was forced upon me. However, I grew to love it, and so I started playing when I was 5. I played scrum half ever since.
That player was Gareth Edwards.
Gareth Edwards from Wales,
Oh.
yeah. So Gareth Edward McLoughlin.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Big dedication.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so what I love about the sport is that it's like free flowing. A lot of sports, at least in America, it's very regimented. You run a certain way. There's a plan. So I like the sort of, on the moment nature of it. So that's why I still play.
That's a Bax answer.
Oh. I love hitting people.
No, well, I kind of stumbled upon rugby, actually. I came to Fairfield originally to play lacrosse. It didn't work out as planned. So actually my roommate, Carlos, was playing rugby, and he was like, yeah, you should go out for the game. Just played my first game. It was a blast. So, I went out and ended up falling in love with it. And, the one way I could describe it when I first went out for playing rugby is it was like playing football, but you got to play both sides of the ball, defense and offense. So, loved football, so I instantly fell in love with rugby. The way I would describe, why I love rugby is because of the camaraderie. I can look out when I'm on that field. I know I'm, giving my all, and in return, I can look to my left and my right and see the 14 other guys on the field, giving it their all. And it really shows, their character and, how hard they're working, because, I'm busting my chops out there. We received very well, and I think it started with having, great leaders our freshman year. Bob Holler.
Mike Kennedy.
Yeah, Mike Kennedy. Kevin Tarka. Just a few names to name. But, they accepted us, and, they made sure we had a good time. We were learning how to play rugby, and, it translated in us, loving rugby. Because if we weren't having a good time, we probably would have, I know me, especially because it was my first year, I probably wouldn't have played all 4 years and continued to play after college.
And we were very lucky too. We had a big freshman class that came out
Yeah.
at the same time, and it instant bond, great way, just coming into school to make friends real quick, and we hung out all 4 years, so that was a big part of it too.
Oh, Gareth actually started his freshman year. So.
Yeah,
So.
I was that good, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's the accent.
Yeah, right?
It's all show. Our freshman year was great just because we had coming in, and there's nothing better coming in on a good team. We had a really great team, just like a strong senior class. So we were really successful. We made it to the playoffs. I remember some games, like really tight games. I think it was against Brown, and at the whistle, I had no idea who won, so I didn't know whether to cheer or be upset. We won. And then we made it to West Point, and that was a tough weekend. But just to be so successful that freshman year really set up the next 3 years pretty nicely and we set really high expectations for ourselves.
Well, I wouldn't say it set up the next 3 years. It definitely, being so good on the field kind of left it brought us closer together. I'd say off the field. We always had a good time on and off the field, and made sure that we bonded together. And I wouldn't say it was the same next year. I guess so. Going to the next year, sophomore year, it was a transitional period, I guess, because
The strong senior class.
Yeah, it was kind of
left.
Yeah, a lot of seniors graduated, so new people had to step up into leadership positions, and I would say that
It was bumpy.
yeah, it was bumpy. I'll leave it at that because I mean, freshman year was very, very popular. Everyone loved it. Like people that that weren't very good, we'd come out and play, but just because we're all in such a good mood. But sophomore year, it kind of it started to diminish a little bit. I thought, we had a hard time getting people coming out to practice. We had a hard time, people, come out with us sort of. So it sort of, us not being as serious on the field translated to kind of a lackadaisical, feeling about the club. sort of. I'm not sure how you feel.
And personally too, like we were only sophomores, so it's still kind of young. So we weren't really sure whether we should like try to step up, and be in a leader position yet. Just because there is like a sort of high seniors, juniors deserve decent amount of respect, and I felt in an awkward position. Just like I didn't know whether I should like overstep. So it was a little bit bumpy for the sophomore year. But by the time that we were able to step up and finally were in leadership positions, we sort of look back upon our freshman year and try to bring that sort of culture, that sort of high expectation for good play, back into the club.
Yeah.
I try to like lead by example, like show up to practice on time every day, because rugby players aren't always the most punctual of people. So I try to just put everything out in the field. And as captains too, you also like you take a coaching role, just because we only had to coach twice a week, so we'd have to run practices. So we'll try to be prepared to have a decent like game plan for the practices. And if people show how much you put into it, you hope like people want to emulate that a little bit.
Yeah.
So that sort of leading by example was the way I chose.
Yeah, I'd say Gareth, I guess nailed it on the head with that one, because Gareth knew a lot more than I did when we were out there. So I tried in putting as much effort as I could. If we were training, go 100%. Like make sure everyone else was working as hard as me. So it was kind of that lead by example philosophy.
Good.
Right, I'd say we.
Important tradition.
Yeah.
One of my personal favorites is the run down to the beach at the beginning of the year. And as a freshman coming in, like college is all new, you don't know what to expect. You go to the rugby table, you sign your name, they say, be back here in 20 minutes with running shoes on. You have no idea what to expect. Don't know how far the beach is anyway. So that run down and you go get to the point and there's basically a party on the point and you're just kind of thrown in to the whole college atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, this is what college is like. So that for me was my personal favorite tradition. I don't know about you.
What else did we try? We tried to carry over a couple other ones. We tried to do drink ups.
Drink ups are always fun.
We tried keep selections in place, although we weren't. Gareth and I kind of discussed it. We weren't the biggest fans of selections.
For the first half of our senior year, it was me and Rory pretty much, just because we were at practice every day. We saw the people like who were putting in the effort, and our coach was new at that point, so we just told him our suggestions, and usually
what we kind of did
he followed our lead.
Is as I remember, we suggested just having everyone there and everyone chip in who they wanted to start, because I think that the team should definitely have a say who they want to start, and then it comes to the captains, and then the captains are like, okay, well, who do we see out there working hard, and then we kind of
put forth the team.
Yeah, and then we talk to the coach, and then the coach kind of chimes in, and so that way we have, I guess, three factors: the coach, the captains, and the players chip in. So that's how we kind of did it. I'm not sure if that's what we did the year after, but that's what we were kind of aiming at, because I thought that was.
We still would have got together though on the Thursday night.
Oh yeah. We so I guess as part of tradition too, we select freshmen. And they come down and
introduce them to the process.
Yeah, I guess if you. What are the tradition? There was a tradition kind of started our freshman year, which was called tea parties. And well, I mean, I want to say tradition.
No, yeah, just go do it.
And so what tea party was is you just you go to a townhouse and you get a bunch of twisted teas or something, and then you just drink with so it'd be us seniors coming to the townhouses and
just the rugby guys.
Yeah, just rugby guys going up to the townhouses, hanging out. It was kind of a bonding tradition.
Just getting everyone together.
Yeah.
There are also the songs.
Oh yeah, songs. Yeah.
Yeah, singing was a big part of it.
At the drink ups, yeah.
I was always timid, to say the least, about jumping in. I didn't want to mess up, and you'd have to drink out of a boot.
Was there one or two people that were choir master?
I would say.
Yeah, Posey was James Posey, he was pretty good at singing along. Who else?
Me.
Okay.
I thought I could sing.
Yeah.
And I thought Billy was pretty good.
Bill was pretty good, yeah.
Billy Connors, Ralphie Mendez. Our junior year, or after the sophomore year, we were suspended because of one of the traditions that we had, which was introductions. And I mean, it was miserable to say the least, but you know, it was a tradition that I thought needed to go. So, you know, I mean, that being said, you know, we tried bringing on, you know, new traditions. We tried having a Christmas formal this year, which was something we never did in the past. It was very similar to you know, the Christmas party that we had.
Right.
But you know, instead we'd actually bring dates instead of all the guys dressing up in dresses. So
Yeah.
it was something.
We brought people who look good in dresses.
Yeah, exactly.
So the bottom line is there were some changes made.
Yeah. Try to like put in new or like form the traditions where they're like just good, like spirited traditions instead of like
Yeah, we also did like
rough.
you know, a scavenger hunt as well.
Hunt.
But you know, that was followed by senior selections, which is always fun. That's a tradition we kept as well. That I think we've been good. You know, I'm not sure how far it goes back, but you
Don't
know,
delve too much into it.
we've done it since freshman year,
Yeah.
to say the least.
So you were able to get back in the good graces of the administration.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I think we wouldn't. By the time we left, we were in very good, like on constant communication with the administration. John Palladino, who's always a great person to like always on our side, trying to help us out. So
Yeah, I thought, you know, John Palladino definitely helped us out. Dean Pellegrino actually, you know, helped us out a lot. You know, I've met with him once or twice. I would talk with him, you know, let him know how things are going. You know, tell him like where we wanted to go, where we were headed, like, and you know, he was very supportive of us, and I appreciate that a lot. And you know, another person that helped us out a lot was Father Duty. You know, he did a lot of stuff, you know, that we couldn't do. He was able to talk to administration. He was, you know, I think junior year when you guys, I wasn't there, but apparently when they had all the snow dumped on the field and it was just a complete wreck by the end of the spring because there were so many rocks and stuff. Father Duty, you know,
wreaked havoc.
Yeah.
On our behalf, which was really nice.
to get the field back in, you know, in decent shape. And
Good.
I'd say that was the best I've ever seen the field play.
Yeah.
Coming back from the summer. I'd say we kind of came out, you know, a little rusty because, to be honest, that was my first full season of rugby. I'd never played a full season of rugby before that. And so you know, we were all trying to just get on the same page as each other. You know where to be, you know what to do. So it started out slow, but
we were lucky that we had our schedule started off soft.
Yeah.
So we had like Hofstra, who's always fun to play, just because you hammer them every time.
Yeah.
And then our first challenge was against Marist, and it was a tie one. We lost 8-5, so that was like a tough one to swallow. So that was our first like challenge, I think. And then after that, sort of we went on this like 3-0 high where we thought like we were the bee's knees or the cat's pajamas, whatever you want to say. And
and then we lost to Vassar.
And then we lost 2 games in a row, and that sort of really grounded us. And we're like, oh, like we're not as good as we think we are.
Oh, did we lose 2 games in a row?
Yeah, I think so.
No, we didn't.
Okay.
No, I'm pretty sure we.
No, I'm pretty sure.
No, we only lost to Marist and Vassar.
But
Yeah, okay. I think
So
back to back.
no.
Okay.
so you got to the end of the regular season.
Yeah, let's
whatever
not
your record.
bickering.
What was your record?
It was I was 5-2, but I would say, you know, our best game and most memorable was probably the last game of the season, which was our alumni weekend against Willie P.
Yeah.
William Parrish.
They were like nationally ranked team, and they were all just like big sort of bruisers. and
Really good team.
Real douchey collection of characters.
I'd put it politely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just great to like beat them, and that put us into the playoffs. And
No, I mean, it was a battle though. A game went back and forth. I think at least 4 times there was
a lead change. Yeah.
And then and us winning that game, you know, brought us to the playoffs and put us in as a 3rd seed, and that's when we traveled up to
Vassar.
Plattsburgh.
Yeah, Plattsburgh. My bad.
Yeah, Plattsburgh, and I think we beat them like 2013.
Yeah, pump my shoulder out.
And so I think that next week we went to Vassar, and we played Vassar, and that was another memorable game. I think
We were down
one
by,
of the highest scoring rugby games I've been in.
We were down by like 20 points, and we came back to beat them. And it's always nice to beat Tony Brown.
Yeah,
That's another
I don't like Vassar very much.
Yeah, it was a great rivalry all 4 years.
Yeah.
All like when you take on a role, whether it be captain, match secretary, you get these sort of projects that you're responsible for, and it's not just when you're studying for class, your grade is just what you get. It has no effect on anyone else. But you have to, if you mess up, you're screwing 40 other people over. So it really helped you just hone in and just be focused and organized. And that transitioned well into the real world where you're accountable for your work. And also in the interview process, like on my resume, it definitely says Fairfield Rugby. And it's always brought up. They ask you about it. And if you have a guy who's interviewing who's played rugby, I think the interview's guaranteed to go well. Because they're not going to ask you the tough questions. They just want to know about your playing days.
Being captain or having any role on the team, definitely puts a sense of responsibility. I guess beyond the life they call college. So, specifically as a captain, you'd have to have a plan going in, to practice. So every day you had to know what you were going to go over, sort of. So I'd say in a sense of being able to plan ahead and putting together a team, I guess, that definitely helped me. I'd like to touch on our suspension one more, I think.
Okay.
I thought that was a big kind of turning point in the club's history and the club's, I guess, mentality. Sort of, it was kind of like, okay, well, where do we go from here? Do we continue with what we're doing, or do we actually pull what we have together and do it? And it was tough because we kind of went into this my fall junior year with not many numbers again. The people that wanted to play came and they played, and it was a tough situation where you didn't really have anything to practice for. You didn't have anything. You didn't have any games, so you had nothing to play for. You only had the guys on the field, that were making you better, and that one day that you would get on the field again with them, and take it to Sacred Heart how you guys did.
Yeah.
So
that's great. That's pretty. That's in the history, that's very important. Very critical that you guys survived that.
It was important just to adapt to this sort of. A lot of rugby in general just has a reputation that doesn't really blend with the politically correct culture that is what we live in today. So we just had to adjust some of our things just so we can still honor the traditions that have been established, but also make sure we don't run into trouble. So I think we were able to do that pretty successfully. I think when I look back, I'm only out a year, but I can say 5-10 years. When I look back, the first thing I'll think about of my college years will be Fairfield Rugby. The school is great, but the thing that will always stick out to me is Fairfield Rugby. It was sort of I define my college years through my experiences with Fairfield Rugby. So definitely a big part.
Yeah, I think that hits it right on the head. Is that people I hang out with to this day are still Fairfield Rugby guys. So it's
Just can't get rid of them.
It's what am I doing this weekend? Oh, well, I'll call Gareth, or I'll call Carlos, or I'll call Posey, or I'll call Ralphie.
Who else are you gonna call?
I don't know. But
we could talk for a long time.
I guess we can just thank the 46 years that came before us, 45 years that came before us, setting up great traditions, great just establishment. So
yeah, I can't.
Yeah, that's about it.
I think that's it.
That's great.
That's
I think that there is a recognition on the part of the current, recent club and current club that there's a long, deep tradition that has been kind of all the way through.
And even through the tough times of getting suspended, the alumni organization was right there with us, just helping us out. You always see a couple old alumni at the game, which is always great to meet them. They're all invested. So
cool.
Yeah, that was great.
Great. All right.
That's all I'd say about that.
Yeah.